Hi, host Derek here. I'm talking with famous people. I'm here with famous person Henry. He's over there on his computer. He, he's we're on break, and he's researching quantum mechanics, I believe. Right? What are you looking at, Henry?
I'm looking at random stuff actually.
Hmm. You mean you're not watching Talking with Famous People, Henry? I am so hurt. Anyway, I want to talk about professionalism. So, this is a word I hate. I hate the word professional. You're not being professional, Eric. I'm constantly being accused of being unprofessional. So let me explain what professionalism means. To be professional and to exhibit good professionalism means to be very attentive to symbols of competence. So you're wearing the right clothes, you're showing up on time, you are using the right kind of language, speaking in the right tone, you are endowed with the right accoutrements, such as nice business cards and whatever else. I don't ever have business cards with me. I have some, but I just when people ask them for me, ask me for them, I go, oh, yeah, I don't really carry those around. That's not very professional. You're right. It's not. Why not? Because professionalism is attending to the symbols of competence. From now on, anytime anybody calls me unprofessional, I'm going to tell them this. That's true. I am unprofessional. You see, the reason is because I'm actually competent, so I don't have to attend to the symbols of competence. Now, you have a choice as a consumer. You can prefer that school. They're more professional than me. Go put your kid in that school. Okay? Then you can professionally lose to my kids. That's it. I don't know what to say about it. I'm so tired of people prioritizing symbols of competence. None of my employees have college degrees. It doesn't matter. What difference does that make? Why would it matter if I had a bachelor's degree or not? Would it make me a better or worse coach? No. Do I have a bachelor's degree? Yes. Unfortunately. I wish I didn't. It's a symbol of competence. A competence of what? English? I'm an English major, for God's sake. I got these very, very difficult parents. I like the kid a lot. Love the kid. Want the kid on my team for sure. She's great. She's cooperative. She's hardworking. She likes to debate a lot. She's a great debater. I love her. She's great. The parents make me want to shoot myself in the head. They have wasted so much of my time with their nonsense so far. And the reason is because they keep thinking they know best about how to make decisions for Natalie. Oops, I said her name. Oh, wow. Um, about debate stuff. They call and they're like, well, what are you doing on Saturday with the kids? I'm like, I don't know. Whatever I do with them. But we're trying to make a decision about where to take Natalie to class. Well, make a decision based on, are you busy? Can you bring her up here? I know you live kind of far away. Don't base your decision on whether or not Eric's going to teach what we want him to teach, because you don't know what your daughter needs to learn. Right? Well, who's her partner? For which tournament? People have no idea how these things operate, right? You've got to register a bunch of people in for a tournament. They have partners. So you go, okay, who's going to the tournament? And then, like, say 8 people sign up. Then you partner them off. Oh, well, Judy's partner if you say beforehand, like, Judy's partner is Carrie, and Judy goes to the tournament and Carrie doesn't go, then all of a sudden somebody else says, oh, well, my partner is Paul. No, Paul's Judy's partner now. But he was my partner. That's why we don't do it that way, right? Nobody has a partner. There's no partners. You get a partner for a tournament, for competition. Right, Evelyn? Right, Catherine?
I don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
bitching about stupid things that bug me.
Partners?
Like me?
Parents, but mostly. I'm bitching about your parents, mostly.
Parents.
Not your parents. Not your parents, Evelyn. All praises due to Evelyn's parents, okay? Your parents are fine. I like, your dad's great. Your mom's a little nutty, but, you know, your mom's nutty in a nice way. She's just so serious. Catherine's mom is the most serious mom I've ever seen. Oh, Catherine's. Oh, I'm so concerned about Catherine. Please, tell me. Is there any way to keep Catherine out of the gutter? She's destined to be a homeless person. If we don't get her into Harvard today, she's going to be homeless for sure.
If that's what she said.
That's Catherine's mom. Catherine's mom was on business in Tokyo and called to make sure Catherine had arrived at class on time. Well, you should call me from Tokyo to make sure Catherine had arrived at class on time because apparently Catherine's mom is concerned that Catherine's dad might have brought her late.
That's me.
That's how crazy they are.
My parents are not crazy.
Hey, your parents are crazy in a good way. Your parents are crazy like my parents are crazy, okay?
Like the guy with the rainbow shoes?
Yeah, I like that. I'm not bitching at your parents. I like your parents, Catherine. I like your mom. Your mom, though she wants a lot of my time, she's not telling me what to do or trying to indicate that she's going to make decisions based on, like, you know, well, if I like what you say, I'm going to do it this way, or if I don't like what you say, I'm going to do it this way. She's just very, very concerned about you. Your mother loves the shit out of you, Catherine. She wants the absolute best for you, and that means picking my brain about why you're not already a super genius with several Nobel Prizes, right? It's like, oh, Catherine's in 7th grade. She doesn't have even one Nobel Prize yet, Eric. What can we do?
Wait, what are you bitching about?
Oh, well, I'm bitching about somebody else's parents.
Natalie.
Yes, exactly. She did she? Is she gone? Okay, then I'll pull her from the Dropbox folder. Can you pull her right now? I want her out of the Dropbox folder.
Cussing, right? Yeah.
Because I was cussing. At whom?
At her mom.
Uh-huh.
And her mom got mad.
Yeah, also her dad. I corrected her dad too. Why? Is it because her dad came up and talked to me and I was just like, I'm going to start yelling at you? No, it's because like 15 or 20 times, literally, they asked me the same questions over and over again as though my answers meant nothing because they didn't like my answer. Who's Natalie's partner? She doesn't have a partner. We don't have partners. For which tournament? Have you paid for a tournament yet? That's when I'll know who her partner is. And no, I'm still bitching, Catherine. We're making a video about it too.
Hey! No, stop.
What's the truth?
My mom got mad at his mom scared of having for 1 more week, and then she just couldn't take it.
Okay, but do you understand that I should not be blamed for yelling at Natalie's parents? Because Natalie's parents seemed to think that because Natalie could come to 3 different classes, that her parents were entitled to give me 3 sets of problems. You know, when she signs up for a class and I say, oh, you can come to policy, LD, and PF time periods, we won't necessarily always be doing LD and LD if no LD people are there. If we don't have somebody competing in LD coming up soon, we may spend PF. And keeping in mind also that after the first quarter, we'll kick the LD program into full action. I explained all that shit to them. They want to know what we're doing today. And if Courtney's going to be here today, they'll bring her if Courtney's here today, because then they know I'll be doing LD, but they're not going to bring her if Courtney's not here today, even though Natalie's not competing in LD next. Do they believe that she has all the information she needs and all the practice she needs in public forum? That she won't get anything from this process? Well, what are you going to be teaching on Saturday, Eric? I don't fucking know.
Doesn't it depend on the students that there?
Exactly. Thank you, Evelyn. It depends on who's there and what we're doing and what I see. If I see that they don't understand this concept of probable cause as a court standard for admissibility rather than as a rule that tells you how and when you can search, if I see they don't understand that, then I'm going to hammer that shit, right? Because that's what we're competing in next. They're trying to say, no, thank you, Catherine. They're trying to say, look, you tell me what you're going to do, and then I'll decide if it's worth my child's time. Don't throw those away. But they're perfectly good. I'm not going to, just because I don't want it that second, doesn't mean you throw it away. It's like you take one bite of sandwich and you're like, do I want to take another bite right this second? No. Okay, just throw it away. No, you're going to take a bite later.
No, I've eaten too much and become fat.
Catherine, you know my body image shit. I hate that. First of all, there's nothing wrong with being fat. Second of all, being fat has nothing to do with what you eat.
Alright.
No, it doesn't. You know how I know this for a fact? It's 99% genetics. My ex-wife, Candace, she's a big girl, right? Pretty chubby. Me? Am I chubby? No, I'm a very skinny guy. Candace and I ate exactly the same stuff our whole marriage, and I always ate more than she did. So why is she fat and I'm skinny? Because that's our nature, not because of what we're eating.
Oh, that's good.
So anyway, that's not the point. So the point is, people are always calling me unprofessional. Well, it's very unprofessional to curse at those parents.
It is.
Okay.
I should be hired to be secretary. I think I would make it good. Change your ways.
Evelyn, I am ready to hire you. No problem. Absolutely. I am ready. No, Catherine, please. You'd be a terrible secretary.
Wait, can I be in high school so I can write it on myself?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Evelyn, don't worry. You have my undying loyalty, okay? You've done great things for me. I very much value your attendance here. I love your mom. She doesn't give me any trouble at all. And you're perfect. And so absolutely, whatever you want. You know, and the thing is, I'm here for you guys after you're out of my program for sure. I'm friends with lots of my old debaters. I hook them up all the time. They're like, can I get a reference letter or something? Or can I have this guy call you and talk to you? I always gush and give them, they get what if they utilize me as a resource going forward, I'm happy to be used as a resource, and I do my best to get my former students and friends whatever they want, Because why? Because you guys trust me enough to know that even though we're here and we pretty much fucked around all morning this morning, I mean, we started around, we got some good stuff done, but I was late and then I had to go get coffee and, I'm very unprofessional. That's the bottom line. I'm very unprofessional. But that doesn't mean I'm bad at what I'm doing. And it doesn't mean that what we're doing is bad. It just means that there's a clear difference between a symbol of competence and actual competence. I could have been here on time, blah, 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 and you guys get your 3 hours a week because that's what you paid for, and then fine. And then you all lose. Because in that instance, I'm not real enough to be good or to care or to try, right? Caring and trying means it has to be naturally occurring goodness. Naturally occurring goodness means when you're like, I don't want to do this right now. Can I just go take a break now? I care about the fact that you don't feel like doing it right now. That matters. Of course. Oh, you don't feel like doing it right now? Go. Let's take a break. That's a good idea. That's a good reason to not do it right now. Why shouldn't you do this right now? Because I don't feel like it. It's an excellent reason not to do something right now.
No, according to my mom, all of your effort.
The thing is, we don't need more effort. We need success. Success comes as a complicated equation that includes effort, it includes caring, it also includes happiness and liking yourself and being cool.
Like me.
So that means when we go into a round, we are not the super serious team that killed ourselves getting into that tournament. We're not that team. I want to win badly, but that doesn't help. That doesn't help us win. They're not like that. They just don't. Everyone made so much meaning out of last year. Last year was the pinnacle of their farm system. They built up that was the pinnacle of a 5-year plan.
Is Harlan offered in night?
I don't know. Harlan, if he's still there, he's good. Don't get me wrong. We'll smoke him. We will smoke those motherfuckers. You hear that number? We're going to smoke you. We're going to roll you up. Light it up. Smoke it down.
No, stop it.
Then you cough out.
You eat that like barbecue.
Okay, fine. We'll eat.
Are you advocating for cannibalism? Yes.
Okay, we can choose. We have a choice. If you prefer to cannibalize them, you can. If you prefer to dry them, roll them up and smoke them, you can do that as well. Either way.
No, I'll eat them.
Either way, the universe returns to its proper alignment where we are the dominant force. And look, it doesn't return that way because we're the most professional. It goes that way because we're the smartest. All right? I want us walking into the tournament with us understanding our cases better than anybody else and having better cases than anybody else. If we can do that, we'll win. But Evelyn, do you understand the distinction between an evidentiary rule and a rule that says you may search now or you may not? Okay, so but it's not enough to just know it. You have to be able to argue it. Now, you convince me. I've already told you right now that oh my goodness, probable cause is going to limit searches so much. You convince me right now, just with your words, not looking at any papers, just with your brain in your mouth, you convince me that it has nothing to do with how many searches there are going to be.
Because probable
No, I didn't say you.
Because probable cause is a standard used by the court to evaluate the admissibility of evidence. It has nothing to do with conducting searches.
And then I want you to follow up with this. Now, if you actually are trying to say that it has an impact, it's a rule for when you can search, then all you got to do is give me a single example of probable cause ever being used to determine when a search is permitted in a school or anywhere else. They can't find one and say, well, but the cops use that to determine whether they can search. No, the courts use that to determine whether the cops' search was valid. The cops may use the court guidance as a influence in their own decision making, but they might choose to search you illegally because they want to find the evidence and get this problem solved, but they don't actually want to prosecute you. That's quite possible. It is possible to find and remove contraband from somebody without arresting and prosecuting them. Correct? Say those words, Henry.
It's possible to contraband.
It's possible to seize contraband.
It's possible to seize contraband without arresting or prosecuting.
Right, without arresting and prosecuting the person who had the contraband, right? If I looked in Catherine's bag and there's marijuana in there, I could say 911, hello police. Yes, there's a terrorist here. She's got marijuana. I could say, Catherine, marijuana, and take it from you and say, Catherine's parents, look with your daughter. I could say, Catherine, marijuana? You want to smoke some with me? I could say, Catherine, marijuana. Okay, I'm going to let you get away with this time, but you better be careful with this young lady, and you just put it away and go away somewhere. Any of those are possible responses to me finding your contraband, right? Now, probable cause and reasonable suspicion don't say anything about whether or not I should, can, or do find it. They only say whether or not, if I were a state agent, keep in mind, I'd have to be a state agent for this to matter. If I were to search you, it has nothing to do with the Constitution. It is not a public school. I am not a public official. It would instead be a trespass. I'd be guilty of trespassing in some sense, okay? So, like, I'd be trespassing in private property. If I took it, I'd be stealing. If I search you physically, it'd be assault because I'd be touching you without your
Permission.
Without your permission and without any good reason, and all those other things. It would be any number of things of a private citizen versus a private citizen. It wouldn't be a state agent, okay? But if you go to school and the school official searches you and it's a public school, then it is a state agent. And so the question isn't about whether or not that state agent is. The state agent doesn't look to the rules to determine whether or not he or she can search. The state agent doesn't have rights. The state agent has powers. And the state agent may employ those powers as he or she sees fit. The question is whether or not they incur any liability when exercising those powers, or whether or not those powers can produce certain legal outcomes. Those are different questions, right? And those are the questions that are actually addressed by probable cause. So the first question that's actually addressed by probable cause is whether or not a government agent's exercise of power creates liability, okay? If a government agent exercises power, abuses power, an abuse of power is a liability. Write that down. An abuse of power is a liability. An abuse of power is a liability. And I'll get back to the topic here in a second. You write that down, and I'm going to finish the topic. So anyway, an abuse of power is a liability. So look, if your cop beats you up, the cop's not liable. Who's liable?
You.
The taxpayer. Taxpayers. So when cops beat up people, then that guy got a $2 million jury award for getting beat up by the cops. The cop himself doesn't pay it out of his paycheck. The taxpayers pay it. The cop's not liable for anything. So the point of that is this: an abuse of power does create a liability. In the public schools, if you abuse the search power, you create a liability. Who has to pay that liability? The principal, the teacher?
The taxpayer.
The taxpayer. So one argument in favor of probable cause, one argument against probable cause is that probable cause does not actually do anything to stop a principal or teacher from searching. Write this down. Probable cause does nothing to stop a principal or teacher from searching. And any abuse of power produces liability for the taxpayer. Probable cause does nothing to stop principals or teachers, agents, government agents, from searching, and an abuse of power is a liability. Probable cause is used to determine if the search is an abuse of power. Probable cause is used to determine if the search is an abuse of power. So this three-part argument is very powerful, right? Because it says, on the one hand, here's a rule that does nothing to stop you from using your current powers. I have powers A, B, and C. Well, here's a rule. Do I still have powers A, B, and C? Yeah, I do. Okay, so that rule doesn't affect that? Nope, doesn't have any impact on that. Okay, I'm going to use power C. Oh, well, what the rule says is if you use power C, someone else is liable. So I can use power C? Well, yeah, but that's an abuse of your power. But what happens to me? Someone else is liable. Who's liable? No one in particular, everyone. So I can do whatever I want, and everybody except me is liable. Is that right?
No.
Yes, that's right.
No, but it's not.
What? No, it's not the right thing to do, but that's how you're going to position it. So if you want to answer the probable cause is just a this is the alternative to the negative position that probable cause is a good thing to have because it permits all the same amount of searches, but without any criminal punishments for the kids, right? Oh, let's just go ahead and have probable cause. We'll search under reasonable suspicion. Whatever we find, we can use to help the kids, but we can't use it to hurt the kids. That's perfect. Okay, fine. But what you don't seem to understand is every time you do that, you incur liability. So you hurt everybody else. You hurt all the taxpayers because little Johnny got searched. You found some marijuana on him, but in the process of searching him, you touched him accidentally. So, now little Johnny gets a $2 million settlement from the courts. Who pays that? The principal who searched little Johnny? No, that taxpayers pay it. So great, we made this rule to stop searches. The rule doesn't actually stop any searches, but it does make searches cost a whole hell of a lot more, right? Yeah, here's the thing. As an egg, you can get up there and say, probable cause doesn't prevent searches. It just prevents criminal prosecution of those who have contraband found. But then the app can say, in that case, those searches are an abuse of power and they incur civil liability. And the taxpayer has to pay a lot of money. Okay? So what's the bad part of finding things in children's lockers if you use reasonable suspicion? They might go to jail. Oh, we're trying to keep this school safe from drugs. And we found marijuana in little Joey's locker.
Joey?
Now, little Joey's going to prison. It doesn't mean that anybody but little Joey is prevented from having marijuana at school. It doesn't mean that you can successfully get rid of marijuana entirely. It doesn't mean that the students who were already smoking marijuana stop all of a sudden. Oh, little Johnny was our only source of marijuana.
Uh-oh.
So now that they've arrested him and put him in jail, I guess we'll all stop smoking marijuana. No, it doesn't work like that. There's lots of sources of marijuana. There are lots of ways for lots of students to get marijuana. Getting rid of one student who has marijuana does not get rid of marijuana from a school. Getting rid of a whole bunch of students who have marijuana does not get rid of marijuana from a school. It just says, well, let's clean out the riffraff. But they're not riffraff. They're human beings who smoke marijuana. So they shouldn't be subject to any penalties because they haven't hurt anybody. They haven't done anything wrong. They haven't violated any rights.
You violated the rule.
They have not violated their own rights, Catherine. Your property rights to your body include the right to inhale smoke.
What?
You own your body, right, Catherine? Catherine, for God's sake, don't tell me you're a slave.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah, as my mom.
No, your mom does not own you.
No. Okay.
Your mom has regency. What does regency mean? It's part of the topic, for Christ's sakes.
They're
She shepherds you through exercising a limited array of your rights until you get the full array of your rights because you're too young to be king, basically. Regency's notion is if you're born and you're the prince, you're supposed to be king, right? But the king dies when you're like 3 years old. You're the king. But because that's how monarchies work, right? Now that 3-year-old is the king. However, that 3-year-old king has a regent. And the regent is the person who acts as adult king until the 3-year-old is old enough to be king.
like his mom.
That's what you guys have, regency. You are queen, king, right? But you're not old enough to be full queen, king yet, so you've got a regent called your parents.
Mom, dad?
Mom and dad are your regents, okay? Your regents are there to exercise your rights with you on your behalf until you're old enough to exercise them by yourself.
That's not good.
That is not the same thing as being owned by someone, Catherine.
That is.
You are just being trolly, Catherine. Stop. Are you guys not completely enamored and captivated by this incredibly good speech that I'm giving you?
Nope.
Are you playing? Are you not hearing my passion in words?
Netflix. I'm taking
Evelyn, that is very unprofessional of you. What do you say in response to that?
Too bad.
No, you say close. You say, Eric, you can take your professionalism and shove it up your ass because professionalism is only about the symbols of competency, not actual competency. Say that to me. Say it. Practice the words. Professional. Good. Say, shove your professionalism up your ass. Go ahead.
It's only a symbol of competency, but not actual competency.
Good. Now, you guys should all go home and practice that. Practice beginning sentences with, oh, really? Well, you can take X and shove it up your ass. It's a good way to respond. It's a good way to respond to people who try to put trash down on your table and say, here's a wrong thing I'm going to tell you. Oh, you know where wrong things go? I want you to bend over. I want you to take your hand, take that wrong thing into your hand. I want you to be way up there. Jump all the way up until it comes all the way up out of your mouth. Okay? Can you do that, please? That's what you do with your wrongness. That's the proper approach to wrongness in general, by the way. It's the most professional approach of all. Thanks for watching Talking to Film, people.